Hello, it's Uncle again. So today we're going to talk about a weird concept, okay? So the concept of yourself and using like martial arts in general. Okay, remember I spoke not too long ago about like how like martial arts is kind of like a sword, yeah. It's a tool to be used. You can use it to hurt someone with the sword, right? You can slay someone with the sword, or you can use it to protect what you love. Okay, and in general, when you think about things and you look at like yin yang, there's like usually duality, right, and opposites. And so like you got the yin and you get the yang and you got the Tao, right, which is the combination of both, right? It's kind of like the Hegelic dialectic or whatever, right? Hegelian dialectic or thesis, antithesis, synthesis, or problem reaction solution, or left, right, middle, everything, right? It's pretty much the same thing, okay? But in general, um, you have to decide on your own what you're going to use the art for. You can use it to either protect people, support people, or you can use it to basically hurt people, or just protect yourself, protect your loved ones, or you can use it for your own means, right? You can use it to attack people or take people out or do whatever you want with it. Okay, and like a lot of people in the past use like that whole concept of um, the canine, right? Like a dog versus like a wolf, right? So the wolf is a predator, right? He goes out, indiscriminately hunts. It runs in packs, right? So it's not like a non-communal creature, but it goes out and it follows its nature, right? It flows with nature, yeah. Wolf, right? It flow with nature, right? WOLF, right? Backwards spells wolf, right? And you got the dog who hangs out with the community. It can be different types of dogs, cute, see little dog, or it can be a protective dog. It could be a guard dog, okay? And dog spelled backwards is what? God, right? Right. So like sometimes like we're given things um, in like a weird point blank coincidental way, right? you know and we're told things in such a way, just like the dragon claw, right, follows the yin yang, right? The tiger claw, right? Dragon pushes, they're outward, male, right, and tiger, inward, valley, pulling, right? So simple, right? Top, bottom, right? Horizontal, vertical, and some things like that are just like inborn in nature. So when you look at it, same thing, right? Are you going to be the predator, the wolf that goes out there and just hunts with your tool, and destroys things? You still hunt in packs. You're still a communal creature, okay? But you're aggressive. You follow the flow of nature, right? Or are you going to be like kind of like more like a dog, okay? More communal, but more protective, kind of godly in a sense, where you're providing the love, you're providing the support, you're providing the honesty, the loyalty, or whatever. Basically, good versus the evil, yeah. So you decide what you're gonna be. But there are some times when, just like the yin yang symbol, it spins, and one becomes the other, right? One dot turns into the other dot, right? And so that whole concept exists too, where like maybe the wolf turns into the dog when it needs to, and the dog turns into the wolf when it needs to. But you decide on the situation when that happens, okay? And I hope you don't abuse, what I show you, right? But then again, this is just a beginner class, right, or beginner kung fu, so like, I can cop out like that, right? I can use that disclaimer, right? But some of the stuff that I teach you can be used to do a lot of harm, and that's why like I label the videos as not for children, even though I don't blatantly swear, I'm not blatantly violent, right, in the videos, but I label them as not for children because it's kind of like an adult topic. It's a tool, it's kind of a weapon, right? But it's more of a tool to be used. And I'm hoping that it's for the betterment of society and not for the degradation of society. Okay? So please think about that. Are you the wolf? You just flow with nature, you go with it, you know? Or are you the dog, right? You know, kind of like the protector, like God, right? Opposite. Anyway, just something to think about. I know it's hokey. You just turn the letters around, right? But sometimes life is just like that. Sometimes, like, the universe speaks to you in a way where it's point blank and blatant. So you'll look at it and you'll be like, oh my goodness, somebody's talking to me. Okay? And sometimes it's just that obvious. Just saying, you know?